So I just finished up with showing a few homes in Monument to a new couple, and they are wonderful. I love them. They were asking me thoughtful questions about different things in the house, and the different houses that we showed, and one of these houses had a movie room, and I love it when a house has a movie room. It's got to be expensive enough to have one, or big enough to have one, but when it has one, it's got those overstuffed chairs, and it's got the projector. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I thought a bit today, or when I was there, about, would I actually use this? I've got 3 kids. How often are we actually watching movies versus, doing other stuff or just working? And the kids are going to be asking, can we watch a movie? Can we watch a movie? How annoying is that actually going to be? In reality, how many movies are we going to watch? But it's a movie room, so one of the other houses that I showed was in Peregrine and Rockrimmon. So a little bit different from the Monument ones that we were looking at, but I forgot how much I love the Peregrine neighborhood and the Rockrimmon neighborhood. It's just, they're on the west side, they're in the mountain, basically, on the side of you got all these trees, you're right next to Ute Valley Park, you're right next to Blodgett Peak, so you've got all this hiking and natural scenery, you've got deer, you've got wildlife that's around. So the only thing that I personally don't like as much about the Rockrimmon neighborhood is that the shopping is a bit trickier. There's a Safeway in Rockrimmon. There's a King Soopers on Fillmore and Centennial, so if you want to drive a few more minutes, you can get down to that King Soopers. It's not the greatest King Soopers, at least not in comparison to the new one, or the newer one that they built on Constitution and Mark Shuffle. East of that huge King Soopers, it has clothes, so it's pretty nice. But it's not that King Soopers. It's okay. My preferred King Soopers is the one I live next to, but I guess that's just because I'm used to it. So I feel that shopping on the west side is not quite as extensive, and rightfully so. You're on the west side where people don't really want more development because they don't want to take away from the natural scenery and continue building into the side of the hill. I get that. That's fine. It's just there's not a whole lot going on commercial-wise. And there used to be a McDonald's in the Delmonico Shopping Center, and they took that out years ago, and it's just been desolate. It's been nothing for years, until finally now they're building something on top of it. I don't know what yet, but they completely razed that McDonald's and they built some new structure on it, so we'll see what that turns into. There's some coffee shops, there's a couple bars, there's a couple restaurants. Lana Thai, I think it's Lana Thai. I hope I get that right. But Lana Thai is in that Delmonico. Actually, no, it's a Rockrimmon and Vindicator shopping center. So that's a great shopping center for a few different things, but it's not like a Walmart. You want to go up to Walmart, you can take Rockrimmon, you can take Woodman up to Academy, and there's your Walmart up there. But there's nothing that's very close by, commercial-wise. So you do have to drive a little bit more to get to where you want to go. You want to get downtown from Rockrimmon area, and it's going to take you, maybe 15 minutes to get down there. So it's not too bad. You do have your Nevada shopping center with the Costco and the Kohl's. So that's not too far away either. It's just I'm used to having a King Soopers that's literally 5 minutes, driving away that I can get to. And it's not as big of a deal now because you can get Instacart, you can get Walmart Plus, you can get any of these delivery services so that you don't have to do the driving yourself. But that is one of the drawbacks and one of the things that kept us from seriously considering the Rockrimmon neighborhood. It's more expensive too here than where we ended up buying, but having Ute Valley Park in your backyard, my goodness, that's just really nice. Right now I'm passing Edmondson Trailhead, which is right off of Woodman and I-25. It's great for bikes, it's great for walking. You can take a stroller on it too. And there's a point where it just the path goes along the railroad that we have, but it goes all up and down north and south side or the north and south on Colorado Springs on the west side. And it's a great little trailhead. I wouldn't necessarily walk it at night, but you go on a group thing and just go and park up there and walk. It's a nice little place. There are there are some cycling trails that you can follow. So Cottonwood Creek is actually a great connector for a lot of these little trails that go throughout the city of Colorado Springs. So Cottonwood Creek, there's a trail that goes along the north and south side of the creek near our neighborhood. So near right next to the park. The creek itself goes goes east and west in Colorado Springs, and you can just walk the trail along the creek or just throughout different paths in the city. We don't have a lot of dedicated bike lanes in Colorado Springs. You'll see a little bit more of that downtown. But I would consider that to be one of the detriments in Colorado Springs is we've got a lot of great parks, like Palmer Park that's within the city, Pulpit Rock, open space, Austin Bluffs, open space. So there's plenty of within city parks and trails that you can go take a hike in. But as far as bicycling in the city, the paths are not quite as nice. We'd have to work on our roads a little bit to really have these wide lanes where you could accommodate more, pedestrians, more people walking. Colorado Springs is really spread out as a city. It's not like Denver. Denver's really condensed, and there's pretty much everything that you need within a few blocks of anywhere that you're at in Denver. Whereas in Colorado Springs, the city wasn't built for that. It was just built more spread out, and over time, as more people move to the city and it's become more condensed, that's great, but you've got pockets of where things are condensed, and you have to get to places. This is not a city that's really great for, there's not great public transit. There's some buses, but there's no trains. There's no dedicated buses that go to anywhere that you want. Taxis, you can get a taxi, you can get a Lyft or an Uber, so there's that option. But in general, it will take you generally 10 to 15 minutes to get anywhere that you want to go within the city. One of the houses in Monument that I showed was on 2.5 acres, and they have this 20 by 10 shed that they keep their snow plower machine in, and it's got electrical run up to it, so it's a little workshop. It's nice. There was a chicken coop next to it, and outside, but it's way big. It's 2 or 3 times bigger than my chicken coop. My chicken coop, you can crawl in there on the bottom level to sweep stuff out. But their chicken coop is actually, you can walk into it. It's a walk-in chicken coop. And it's got all the, the spot for them to nest and stuff too. But, oh my, it was just a feast of, for a backyard chicken lover. They had like 7 chickens in there, but you could fit like 12. I mean, there was an accident on the road as I'm driving. I don't remember where I was going. Driving somewhere, and then I just drove back up on Academy, and there was some accident that wasn't there, 10, 20 minutes ago when I drove up the other way. And it was pretty bad. It was just somebody rammed into somebody else, and they were just kind of shoved into the median. And the person in front of me sees it first, and I see it, and we just kind of slowly drive by, like, we're in the very next lane. There's no other room because there's other cars in here. We're like, hello? Are you guys okay? Oh, and I didn't used to see so many accidents. There's a lot more traffic accidents now than there used to be, and granted, there's a bunch more people in Colorado Springs than there used to be, so where there's more people, you're going to have more accidents, you're going to have more crime, you're going to have more, everything that involves people. The other day, my son, in the morning, he said, "What was that noise last night?" And I said, "What noise?" He said, I heard it sounded like, a bang and then another bang. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And I saw later that day on the Nextdoor app, somebody in our neighborhood had asked the same thing. They're like, I heard, some banging noise. What was that? Was that a gunshot? And I'm like, oh God, like, of course, like, we're going to have just a neighborhood random shooting? Is that what's going to happen in our neighborhood now? Are we going to be that neighborhood? But there were some comments from other people where they're like, oh, I heard it too. And then finally, there's a few people who are like, yeah, I heard it. It was fireworks. I saw the people setting them off. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I can deal with fireworks. I was shooting people at night, freaking my child out. Like, are we safe? Like, I don't know. Are we? Like, as a real estate agent, I am not allowed to, like, vouch for a neighborhood or say this is an awful neighborhood, don't move here. I have to avoid steering people into or away from certain neighborhoods. So when people ask about, like, hey, I just want to avoid bad neighborhoods, what areas should I avoid? This is actually a really hard question for me to answer legally because I'm not allowed. And I want to say, like, I could tell you exactly where all the shootings are happening, like, if that's what you're concerned about. And really all you have to do is go look up, actually, I made a web page for this. I made a page that gives you all of the a few different sites that you can go to, but you can look it up yourself. You can Google it and say, crime data Colorado Springs or crime rate Colorado Springs or whatever, something like that. And you'll find these websites that will just tell you, and they'll just basically give you a heat map and say, here's where the majority of murders, thefts, and, whatever is happening. And then you'll have the same information that I have, and you can say, oh, well, like, maybe I don't want to live in, that part of town or those neighborhoods or whatever. And that's how I tell people now. That's how I tell people to look up, to know what the crime data and the school data, for that matter, too, because you can look up and see what the school ratings are, and you're going to get about the same level of information that I have, except that I take my oldest child, who's the only one who can go to school at this point, and it's a public school. It's here it's 5 minutes away from where we live. We can walk there, and it's a nice school. I have no problems with it. There's people that prefer to be in certain school districts, and there's like, I've heard this is a good school district. Well, yeah, you probably heard right. So, every school district has good schools and bad schools in them. If you want to be in particular school districts, that's fine. I can search within particular school districts. Don't knock other school districts and particular schools just because you've heard bad things about that school district, because you might find a good school there.